Hello and welcome back to my project Nuts for Guts as we are building a platforming game. Okay, so I'm going to preface this video by saying I have done this bit 3 times now as I keep getting interrupted as I'm recording. So, this is the 4th time, better be a charm, and what we're doing is we are going to take the moving platform we built in the last episode. Look at that, a platform that moves, hits the area, and then comes back. And we are going to modify it a bit to make it a bit more powerful. Okay, so instead of messing with the unit we already have, we are going to duplicate it. And we are going to call it our moving platform nodes. Or node-based. Okay, and we can rename that later. It's just right now this is a working template. And then we are going to add a new blueprint class, actor, and we are going to call this a target. Target node. Remember, no spaces, because I keep forgetting that. Okay. In our target node, we are just going to make it something that we have a visual representation of. So I'm just going to go in and add a bunch of arrows. So arrow. And we'll do that at -80. We'll duplicate our arrow, and we'll do that at +80. Oh, come on. +80, but a -1x scale. -1x scale. Okay. Duplicate again. Then we are going to... Come on. Rotate it at 90 degrees here. Come on, 90. Give it 0x plus 80 z. And duplicate. And we're just going to give this one a -80 z. Come on. -80 and a -1 z modifier and back to a regular x modifier. Why it's looking like that, I don't know. Oh, a 1 times x modifier, there we go. And just 2 more, so we're going to duplicate, rotate this, the 90 that way, and we are going to give this a... Let's see, where is our translation? So we're going to give this a location of -80. Nope. We are going to give it a location of -80 on the Y, or 80 on the Y, I guess, and 0 on the X. And then we are going to duplicate it, rotate it around, and then we are going to give it a -80 on the Y. There we go. And that's that. Just a bunch of arrows pointing to a point. And that way, when we bring it out to the world, we know that, hey, look, that is definitely our target point. Okay. And better yet, none of it's going to show up in the world, as the arrows and the scene component do not render. So there we go. Now we're going to open up the copy we just made, and we are going to start really butchering this here. So we are going to delete our whole bottom line. Just delete. Goodbye. We are going to delete all of this. Delete. Goodbye. And that. Okay. So all we're left with is our timer and a few things here. Now we're going to bring that down. And we are going to start with our event begin play. Oh, I already had a variable here. Okay. So, firstly, we are going to rename some variables. So we're going to call this location A and location B. Okay. We are going to do a new integer, and we are going to call this step list stepper. Okay, and that is going to be an integer. Okay, and then we are going to do another integer called last index. And we are going to add a new variable called target list. And target list we are going to change over to an actor type. And it's actor reference right there. And we're going to make that an array. So there we go. We click the little box, makes it an array. Perfect. And that should be what we need. So we are going to bring our target list out, get a get handle off that, and then we are going to drag from it, and we're going to type in get. Okay? And this lets us get a specific value from our list. Okay? Our list being an array. Okay, if you aren't familiar with that term, please look it up. Array. Basically just a list of items. And in Unreal Engine, arrays are counted as base 0, so they always start at 0. Okay, so we're getting the first item in our list. And then as an actor, we are going to get actor location. Okay, and then we're going to pull off our event begin play and set actor location. My headset cord's falling down and starting to bug me. There we go. And what this bit of code does off our event begin play is actually quite simple, but very necessary for what we're going to be building here. And this is, it gets our first node, or our first target, and it sets our current location to the first target. Okay, that's it. So that way, if we put a bunch of nodes in the world, we don't have to line up our platform with the very first one perfectly. Okay, and then we are going to tell it to play. Oh, no, not play. We are going to do a custom event, and we're going to call that play. There we go. And then we're going to run play. Just like that. So run the play event, do the play event. Okay. Now this is where things start getting complicated. Like, they aren't super complicated, but they're a little bit complicated. So we are going to... What are we going to do? We are going to bring out our target list, because we're working with it. And, oh right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get from the target list. We are going to copy that and do another get. Okay, what we're getting is going to be the location for the actor. So actor location, get actor location, and we'll just copy and paste. So Control C, Control V. And there we go. Straighten, straighten. And then we are going to get our last index. Okay. We're going to straighten that connection. Straighten that connection. So we're going to get our last index. And then on our second one here, we're going to move that forward. We're going to move these down a bit. We are going to add integer to integer into this, and we're going to add our list stepper. Okay. And let's move this all around. Something like that. There we go. And our list stepper, so we're going to compile, save. List stepper, we're going to give it a default value of 1. Okay. So what this is doing is getting our last index. So our last item in the list, which is going to start at 0, so getting our first one. Or our last referenced index, and then it is going to also get the next one in line, so +1 to the index number. What we are then going to do is check off this second one is valid. Is valid index is what we want. Is the index. And we might have to... There we go. Is valid index. Whoops. Sorry, we didn't want to pull off there. We want to pull off this index number. And we want to get our target list. Okay? And what this is doing is checking, okay, so we get our last one, we add a spot, and the next one, is there something else in our list to get? Okay? And that's all it's saying. Is there something else here? Yes or no? So off play, we are going to then do a branch. And that is going to run our branch. True or false. Is the next list item valid? We're just going to straighten everything up. Okay. And if it is valid, we are going to set our location. So we're going to set location A. And we're going to set location B. Just like that. Look at that. So simple. I say that as we're working with an array of targets and going to make things move between targets, so yeah. This is going to be fun. Okay, so we're straighten this, straighten that, make everything nice and tidy. Okay, and what happens if this is not true? Okay, we're going to deal with that later. Okay, right now we are just going to do a print string, and in there we're going to say end of list. Okay, so it's just going to give us an error end of list right now. Okay, and now at this point, see how we still have our timeline down here? Instead of plugging right into our timeline, so we're going to get rid of everything that plugs into our timeline. So instead of plugging into our timeline, we are going to go to components, and hey look, our timeline, which we're now going to rename. So we're going to rename this to just timeline, because we just got one of them. And we are going to pull that out here, and we are going to play from start. Look at that. Compile, save. So there we go. Then we set all this up, and then we play this. Our timeline we are going to change. We're going to change, actually we aren't going to change it right now. We're going to leave our timeline as it is. And then we are not going to worry about that yet, so we're just going to break that link. So what we've made is when the game starts, this platform should move to its first position, so the first node, and it's going to play. And when it plays, it's going to get the first node, or the last one that we referenced. It is then going to get the next one in line as well, set both of their locations, and play from start. Okay? Then we are going to do the timeline, we are going to do all this stuff, and we do need this, okay? And all this stuff is explained in the previous video. So we are doing a timeline, so we're changing a value over time. We are making sure that value is between 0 and 1. We are moving something between our two locations and updating our location within. And then if our platform's location reaches the end, we are going to get our last index, and we are going to add, so plus, and we want to turn context back on, so to plus integer, list stepper, and then we are going to, if our platform has reached its end location, we're going to set our last index to our current index plus 1. Which is, if we look here, our current index plus 1 is our location B. So then it's going to start at location B and try to go forward. Okay. So let's straighten that off, move that back, move it down, move that, straighten that. And if this is false, it does nothing, because it's just a check to see when it reaches the end of its animation. While it's still doing its animation, we don't want it to make any changes. So that is that. Compile, save. And now we want to make our target list visible. Just like that. Okay. And we can get rid of these old variables that we don't need. The X, Y, and Z modifier. We'll keep the speed mod though for now. Okay. So, we've got our target node. We are going to set it to 0 on the Y, so it is centered in our world. And we are going to call it point 1. Okay. We are now going to Control C, Control V, and it auto names it to point 2. Check that out. And we're going to move it over here. And then we're going to Control C, Control V, and we are going to move it up here and over there. And then we're going to Control C, Control V, and move it right like that. Okay? Just so we have some different lengths. Actually, let's move our point 1 over here. We got a long length, a kind of short length, a shortest length. Okay, because this is probably going to give us a little bit of an issue that I want to demonstrate. So there we go. We bring this out. And now, if we look through here, we've got our target list. We're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And in these drop-down boxes, we're going to select our targets, which are now in the map. So we're going to do point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. Okay? And then instead of playing our game like we usually would, we are going to hit this little drop down and we are going to tell it to simulate. And look at that, we've got this slow moving platform and it's kind of lame. So we are going to stop simulating. Gonna make sure I'm still recording. Perfect. And we are going to grab that platform and we're going to up our speed. We should have a speed modifier somewhere. Speed mod. We're gonna do it 3 times faster. Okay. And then hit enter to save that. Okay. And now play. Look at that. We got a little bit quicker moving platforms. It goes. And it doesn't go any further. Okay, so it reached our end. It went from one, went to the other, reached the end. Oh. Simple fix. Play. So after we've updated our last index, or our last point we were at, we want to tell it to play again. And that brings us back here and does the whole thing again. And there we go. So now let's go back to our menu, do, and we should see it go do, and then do, and do. There we go. I should have probably sped it up, but hey, we'll see it. It goes slow. Oh, it slows down a bit, but it's moving. And then it slows down even more. And this is what I wanted to demonstrate. And when it gets to the end, hey, end of list. There we go. Okay. So, now, we are going to do two things. So we are going to set this platform up to return. Okay? So, where we have end of list, we're going to set this up to return. We are also going to set this up to keep a steady speed. And this involves math. And I know math can be scary, and a lot of people don't like doing math, but it's very important in game design. Okay? So, what we're going to do here is we're going to now do some quick cleanup. Okay, so our speed mod, we are going to change that category. Actually, we are going to delete speed mod. Go away, speed mod. We don't need you. Do I want to delete it? Yes. Okay, we are actually going to get rid of all of that right there. Okay, we are going to bring all of this back some. And plug our timeline right in. And then in our timeline, we're going to modify this. So we're going to do, it's 1 second long. We're going to click on our endpoint here, and we're going to do it 1 second long. So it moves from 0 to 1 in 1 second. Let's rename this as well. So rename 0 to 1 over 1 second. Okay. There we go. 0 to 1 over 1 second. And this is going to get interesting. So, let's give ourselves some space. We need space. I'm going to select all this and move it down. And we are going to keep things nice and separate so that we can comment them later. Okay, so this is one chunk to comment. Okay. And this will be part of 2 chunk to comment. And now let's start doing our math. So we need location A, location B. We are going to minus these from each other. Vector minus vector. And then we're going to use a node called get vector length. Or is it just vector length? Vector length. There we go. Vector length. Okay. What this is doing is between our location A and B, how far is the distance? That's all it is. Okay. And that's in centimeters. So we want to work with a little larger number, because centimeters, there's going to be a lot of them in between spots. So remember that Unreal Engine is based on the metric system. It's based on centimeters. So if we divide that number, so we're going to divide float by a float. Straighten our pin. And that, divide it by 100. And that's going to give us meters. Okay? This means we also need another variable. So we're going to call this meters per second. Okay. and that is going to be a float, and it is not going to be a array. So we're going to untick that. I'm going to bring it out, and we are going to divide meters per second by, so divide by how many meters there are. Okay? And maybe some of you out there are following. If you are following, and I don't mean like following along, but I mean like actually understanding what I'm doing, then maybe you've already guessed what this is for. We're going to plug that now into set play rate. And where is, okay. Let's get our timeline, and we are going to set play rate, and we are going to turn context back on. Come on. Set rate. Come on, I know this is a thing. Compile, save. Okay, we'll just type in timeline then. Set play rate right there. Why are you not coming up? Seriously? Stupid thing. And we're going to plug that into here. Okay? And this is why. So this is getting us a percentage. Okay? Based on how many meters we should travel per second. Because we're traveling from 0 to 100% of this distance in 1 second. So getting this percentage tells us to slow down that play rate, or speed up that play rate, depending on the distance between our 2 points. Okay, so fancy math giving us a percentage to base our time on. So yeah, woo, math, yay. It took me like hours and hours and hours to figure this out last night, guys. So I really, really hope you appreciate this. Because what this is going to do for us, and we're going to bring this down, and we are going to bring this all down as one unit, this kind of like weird fish-looking math. Fish math. We're going to shift and select so that we can move it over. We will move these over a bit, give it a bit more breathing room. Straighten up that connection, straighten up that connection, and bring our timeline getter down. Like that, and maybe bring that over like that, and straighten that off. How does that look? If that's the case, then we're going to want to do that. There we go. I like that. That is nice and clean, and there we go. So, now, where previously we had a very slow moving thing, like when it got to these points, so it went fairly decent, but then when it got here, it slowed down, because it's taking the same amount of time to get between here and here, to get between here and there, or between here and there. So the platform moves a lot slower, because it's taking the full 10 seconds to move between here, but it's still taking the same 10 seconds to move between here. Now, with this fancy math, changing our play rate, it should give us a even speed between all of our nodes. So, fancy math, let's test it. So we're going to compile, save, meters per second. We want to make that an eyeball so that we can change the speed of our thingy, our platform. So we've got meters per second and target list as our two changes. So, compile, save again, minimize. So now if we come out here and just for aesthetics, like, I'm gonna put it near our first point, but, like, we're gonna put it there. So it always starts at our first point, but I like to have it somewhere near there in the level. And we are going to set our meters per second to 2. Why not? 2 meters per second is the travel speed, and it should do a very even speed between all of those. So let's test. Okay, so it goes there. Look at that! An even speed. It doesn't slow down. Okay, it did not slow down. It went an even speed between all of them because it is dynamically setting its speed with this nice math, okay? So, this here we are going to set playback rate of timeline based on difference, or based on distance between what, or is it between target points. Okay, so set playback rate based on the distance between the target points. And that results in a very smooth play between all of them. Okay, this here, not this, but this here. I wonder if there's a nicer way to spread those out. I guess I could kind of put this like more together by doing that. No, I don't like that. Yeah, we're gonna just keep it just like that. Okay. So I'll comment all this. And this is going to set target locations from target node list. There we go. Okay. But now, something we might want to do is 2 things. We'll do 2 things that we want to do. So we want to make this so it can return. Okay? So once it gets to its endpoint, instead of just staying there, it can come back. I think I also want to make it set so that we can set it to return or set it to not return. And then I also want to set up a delay between returning. Okay, so let's start this. So we are going to, if there are no more forward steps in the list, so if the next step in the list is not valid, we are going to do a branch, and we are going to check a new variable. We are going to call this one loop question mark, and it is going to be a Boolean. So does the play loop? So does it come through and then go back? Or maybe not loop, maybe we want to do return. Return trip, question mark. Okay, that's what I'm gonna call my thing. And we're just gonna pull off here, get rid of our print string, as that was just for debugging. So does it do a return trip? Okay. And if it does not do a return trip, we do nothing, because we've already made our first trip. If it does do a return trip, we want to set list stepper. Actually, we want to branch. Okay, we're going to do another branch. And we are going to check list stepper. So how many points it should move in the list. Does it equal 1? Okay. So is it currently going up 1 in the list? If it is currently going up 1 in the list, we want to set their list stepper to -1. Okay? And this is really cool. So instead of changing this out to add +1 or -1, if we add -1, so go back to like high school math, if we add -1, it is the same as minusing 1. So adding -1 is the same as just minusing 1. So now we do list if there's no more values in the list and it is set to do a return trip. If our list stepper is positive, set it to negative. If our list stepper is not positive, or Control C, Control V, we are going to set it to positive. Okay. So compile, save, and we want to make return trip also visible. So compile, save. So now, over here, we can set, where is it? So target list, we can set all the points it's to travel between. We can set how fast it should travel, and should it do a return trip? In this case, yes. And let's watch the result. Let's watch the result in faster speed, though. We're going to set a 4 meters per second speed. So it comes up, gets to our end, and comes back. And then stops. Why are you stopping? Okay, so it's getting there and then not doing anything. And then it's doing a weird jump. Oh, why do I keep minimizing there? Okay, so I want to open this up again. So when it gets to the end, is list stepper positive? Then we want to set it to negative. We just want to get last index and then minus. And last index -1. Yeah. That should... Why are we doing weird things? And why are we not doing reliable things? This I am not understanding. Okay, we have return trip set to... We're going to set that to true by default. Just in case that's doing weird things. Max speed, we're going to set to 4 by default. Or meters per second, I should say. Last index should start at 0. Stepper should start at 1. We've done all of our maths. So it comes, it fires that. And then comes and fires that again. Comes, fires that, because it's positive. And then it stops. So this is doing this before playing again, right? Yeah. Okay. So we are going to tell this to play in a new editor window, and this way it's going to go up, it's going to come down. It stops for whatever reason, and is it going to give me an error? It does not give me an error. So when it reaches there, so our last index should be this. Then we try to -1, come back. That should be that. Okay. That should be doing it. I swear. Like, that's supposed to be it. What are you doing? This should be working fine now. Plus -1. It goes back 1. And then it gets... Okay. Okay, I think I know what might be happening. Is this can go back further than -1. And then it would be giving it a bad value here. So we need to clamp this value. So we need to clamp our integer. Clamp integer to be a minimum of 0, and let's say we can have a maximum of 1,000, 10,000 points. Okay? Just ridiculous. We can have 10,000 nodes that this travels between. You can put that to be a more realistic number if you want to, but having it as a ridiculous number like that, make sure that you'll never run into a functional limitation when it's playing through your game. But this way, when it is going negative, it is never going to go less than 0. And hopefully that solves the issue I'm running into here. Let's play. Nope. We don't want to do that because it takes us to our other view. We are going to simulate. So it's going to go, it is going to reach its point, it's going to come back, going to reach its point, and it still stops. Did I compile? I didn't save, I know that. See, now this is embarrassing. We've got this really cool setup. What if we don't check return trip? Let's take out that complication. So we're going to play. Okay, now it just stops. It should, if this is not valid, flip the things. Well, you know, we've got a really cool one-way thing, which is kind of sad. I want to make it a two-way thing. But we might have to edit this in a next video. Come on, where am I making the mistake? So, let's do a run-through. So we get our last index, and we -1. Okay, so we're doing our return, seeing if it works. We -1. If this -1 is valid, we set those two locations. We get our distances, blah, 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 blah. And then we do this. Oh. Is this giving us an issue? I don't know. That might be giving us an issue. But yeah, we're going to compile, save. We are going to simulate, because I think everything has to be saved to simulate. Look, it gets to the end. Okay. We are going to do a... Okay, stop simulation. We are going to print. You know, this debugging process is important in and of itself. So I'm just going to keep on recording as we figure out what's wrong. So we're going to make sure that it does get to the end and say hello. It does say hello. Okay. Why do I keep minimizing? Okay, so it does say hello. What are we missing? What are we missing, people? This is when this would be nice if it was a stream, because then people could actually answer back when I yell out, what are we missing? Okay. Like, it worked when we put in return trip. What if we just break that link altogether? Compile, save. Is it setting this? Okay, that's what we'll check next. Break links, okay. So is it setting -1? We don't want to simulate in that window, we want to come simulate over here. It is setting -1. Nope. Cancel, we don't want to close. Oh. Duh, I am an idiot. So. Why am I so dumb? So, have you ever had a point where you're just like, get so focused on something that then something really simple escapes your grasp? Like something really stupid simple? We get all the way down here, but we never tell it to play again. We got all the way down here, but we never told it to play. The clamping probably isn't a bad idea, either. That being said, though, like, this should only ever get to 0, and then it's going to check -1, and then say, nope, change those out, and then it's going to do 0 + 1. So the clamp should be unnecessary. So we're going to take that clamp out. Why add the added complication? That's optimization for you. And that actually is just lessening how much code you're running. Okay. So now that we're actually telling it to play, let's try that. Go figure! When you tell something to play, it plays. Wow, don't we feel so smart? Okay, so we've got our fancy math. We've got all our movements. We've got all that. We're going to add one more thing here. And we're going to make some comments. We are going to comment this. See, if return trip is true, set stepper to go through list in reverse. And we're just going to put -1 there. So, if we've got return trip to true, then it comes through and it will go in reverse. Yay! I'm so dumb. Okay. Now here we are going to do no, because that would delay it at each thing. We could tell it to delay here. Okay. Delay. Okay. There we go. So straighten that connection. Like that. We're gonna pull this back so that we can comment everything separately. Okay. Make nice tight comment boxes. This here we're gonna pull forward. We are going to make another variable. We are going to call this one hold time in sec. Okay, so hold time in seconds, and it is a float. Okay. And hold time in seconds we're going to plug in right here to this delay. And this is very simple. And this is just hold at end before returning. Okay. And all this is going to do, and we'll test this here in just a moment, is that when it gets to the very end, and it says, okay, there's no more steps I can do, switch it around to go the other way, and then before playing, it's going to hold at the end. Okay, so we are going to make, oh, we need to bring that back up. Hold time in seconds has to be visible, has a little eye open, so that we can edit it from our thing here. So we click this platform, we now have hold time in seconds, we're going to set that to 2 seconds. And let's hit play. So it goes 1, 2, and comes back. 1, 2, and then goes back. And that way we have a configurable hold. If we set that to 0, it will do the circuit that we previously had. Stop. And it just gets to the end and continues going. So there we are. Okay. Very configurable setup. Okay. You know what? We've already been going over this. We're almost at an hour. Let's make it an hour. So we are going to have return trip. So this sets it up as a return trip. So we're going to move our actual movement down. If it is not a return trip, we're going to do another branch. And we are going to do another... Why does it keep doing that? Like, seriously. New variable. We're going to call our new variable circle question mark. And that will be a Boolean. Okay. So if it's not making a return trip, is it doing a circle? If circle is true, we are going to... Okay. circle is true. What are we going to do? We are going to do... We have to separate this now. So we are going to play. And then we are going to do a custom event and do play part 2. Okay. Just going to move this here. Straighten connections. We are going to move this here and do play part 2. And we are going to break links there. Okay. So this would manually set everything. Or I mean automatically set everything. But if it's a circle, so now that we have these separated, I'm going to say if it's a circle, it already said, okay, is there anything more here? No. So that is going to... Is there anything more? No. So these are going to be their last coordinates. So location B is going to be the very last spot we went to. So if it's circle, we are going to get location B. We are going to set location A. Okay. The location B is the very last spot we were. And we're going to set that to our beginning spot for our animation here. And then we are going to get our target list. We are going to get from it 0, because we're going to go right back to the very beginning. We are going to get actor location, and then we are going to set location B. Okay, so we get it first and save it in location A, and then we are going to reset location B to the original point. Okay, and what this lets us do is then if we do the tick right here, so we're going to make that an eyeball. If we tick this to true, when it reaches its very end point, it's going to go back to its start point. Which I think is kind of cool. So, and these here, circle and return trip, will be mutually exclusive. You cannot have both of them on. If you have both of them on, it's always going to do return trip. So, there's something. So we are going to do... We're going to get rid of point 4. Yes, get rid of point 4. We are going to bring up point 3. Actually, we could have kept point 4. So we are going to Control C, Control V, point 4. We're going to get this. We are going to turn return trip off. We're going to have hold time off. We're going to have circle true. And we're going to make sure that we are getting this point 4. We are going to set this to point 4. So we should now move between all of these. So save and play. So there, and damn it. I did it again. It's very important to tell your stuff to play. And because we are manually setting these here, instead of going through this, we're going to just tell it to play at part 2. Okay? Oh, man. So, now... and it should come down and then continue looping. Wait, what? What? No. No, what error? What error? Infinite loop detected. Well, yeah, it's an infinite loop. That's the whole point, is that it's an infinite bloody loop. Oh. Set location A. Set location B. That should do it. Seriously, come on. Okay, what happens if I play it in the editor? Is it still going to cause an issue? Is it still going to crash it out? Or is it going to play it in my game? Comes down, and it crashes out. Oh! You are starting to be very annoying, Unreal Engine. This should work. But location A. Location B. I think it's just how I'm setting this. So, if we... how can we do this? How can we do this? I really don't know, because this should... Okay, what if we do, a custom event, set B, and that's going to be set B, and then this here we do set B event. Oh, come on. Set B. And then we'll break that link. So now we're keeping them as 2 separate events. So it's going to store in location A, going to call set B, and then we're going to set B. Because it's in 2 separate events, is it going to let us do it? Or is it still going to be a wuss and be like, hey, that's an infinite loop? It is still going to be a wuss and tell you that that's an infinite loop. How do we get around that? How do we get around this? Like, this was supposed to be like, hey, look, we just reached an hour, because now we're at an hour and 4 minutes because we are dealing with this. Okay. Get target list 0. Set actor location. Yes. Like, the issue is that it's seeing that this is a loop, which, yes, it's supposed to be a loop. It's supposed to run forever. Okay, what if we just did... So we come here, we checked okay. Is this it? It sets... So let's do another get. We're going to copy this. Actually, we're going to copy this. Now we're going to plug this all in. Okay, so it gets the last index plus 1. Into location A. No, last index plus 1 will be nothing, so gonna get last index into A. Okay. And then location B is going to be the 0 index. And let's see if that works. Comes down. And then that happens! What the hell? Access none, trying to read set location A. So from target, we get our last index. Okay, which we're doing right here. Get last index. Plus 1. So you get the last index again, and that should always be true. You get last index plus, and then if it's not valid, the last index should always be valid. And then get index 0 for B. Why are you being such a pain in my rear? Now we're going to set this back to simulate. It goes around, comes down. Ah, I see. Okay. So we play part 2. But we need to get, we need to set last index to 0. That's what we need to do. Okay. Okay, so we need to set last index to 0 when we do this. So now we should be able to have a circular moving platform. Except for when it jumps like a monkey. Oh, stop minimizing that. Set last index to -1. Because then when we start here, we're going to add it to 0. Work. Huzzah! We have made a node-based system. We have made a node-based system where we can add up to 1,000 nodes. Or no, infinite nodes, because we ended up taking out that clamp, right? So we can have an infinite number of nodes. Our platform will move to that. It will move to that node at a regulated speed. Okay, so it is not changing speed. It's going to constantly do the same speed, no matter what distance those nodes are from each other. We then have the option to have it loop backwards through its nodes, or we have the option for it to circle through. We have a very, very flexible platform that is node-based, so we can set targets in our world. Oh, okay, so Philip, when you asked, is the moving platforms a more advanced subject? Hell yes! If we want to do it like this. Okay? So there's been a lot of stammering around and looking around and being idiots and not putting the play things in here. But that is how to finally get a node-based system. So yeah, here, and then we can like move these wherever we want them to be. So say we move that like over there. And then we move this one like up, and we move it like over. And we move this one like over there, so we can get like some really funky weirdness happening. We want this to be more exciting, so it is going to be... I'm sorry, I'm talking fast now because I'm like, woo! We did this! Yay! We're going to have this move 10 meters per second. And circle through all of them! Oh, yes! So much yes! That is... Wow. Like, you'll never need to make an elevator or a moving platform ever again once you have this. Like, you just, like, pop your nodes in and you tell it to, okay, I want you to go between these nodes at this speed. Should you return? Yes, return. Should you hold at the end? Yeah, sure. Hold for, like, 5 seconds. Or, do we not want it to return, but we want it to make a circle between all of them? Sure, let's make a circle between all of them. Okay, I am very pleased with this system. I hope you have all enjoyed this. I hope you've all been able to make it through the whole video to see our final result. Oh. Because previously I did not have the looping. Okay, like I said, I've done this video like 3 times, but I kept getting interrupted. So I did not have this loop function. I did not have the circle. That is completely new for this video. I did not have the delay. That is completely new for this video. So, there you have it. A very configurable, on-the-fly, node-based system for your moving platforms. This will serve any platform you ever need in your game. And you know what? To take it a step further, in our next episode, we're going to try to make this work on the Switch. Because why not? Let's just go crazy with this. Let's make our node-based system work on the Switch. So, hope you've all enjoyed this. I'm going to spend some time commenting and aligning nodes and getting everything pretty. You know what? We're already well over an hour. Let's do a summary and walk through what we've completed again. Okay? So, let's just move things around a little bit. Okay. Yes. Oh, I'm very pleased with this. If you haven't already noticed. That is a nice system. Okay. So, what we've done is we have made a copy of our moving platform, which we could move in the X, Y, and Z directions. What we've done instead is make it so that it follows nodes around the world. So wherever we move a node, say I want it down there, and if I play this, it's going to move down there. Okay, so node-based system. We created a node, which is just a placeholder. Like, it is a completely empty actor. It is just a visual representation. Okay, that is it. It can be whatever you want for a visual representation. Then, in our copy of our moving platform, we deleted almost all of it, except for this bit right here. Like, that is what's from the original system. That's it. All the rest of this is new. Okay. When we begin playing, we get the first result in our target list, which is set as a public variable. So that means that we can set it while it's either from another blueprint or we can set it while it's in the editor here, just through this stuff right here. Oh, that is so nice. And we move our platform to the very first instance of a target. Then we tell it to start playing things. And it gets our last index, or when it starts up, it gets the first index. We actually might want to set that right here. So, no, we won't bother. We have it set manually to 0. Okay, so we get our target list that we populated in the editor, and we get our current index, by default 0, so our first one, and then we add a modifier to it to get the next one or previous one in line. We check if that previous or next target is valid, and if so, we save their locations. We do some math to get the distance between their locations and the speed at which we should run our timeline. And then we play our timeline, doing the lerp between the two locations, and then updating the last index, so that it then steps to the next one in queue. Okay? And so on and so forth. It keeps looping this. When it gets to the point that it tries to add, or so it either tries to go to the next or go to the previous item in the list, and there is no more items, it says, hey, this is not valid anymore. We then come down here. If it is not valid, so there's no more items in the list, and we told it to do a return trip, it says, okay, instead of adding one, so have we been adding one to our list? Okay, yes, we've been adding them. To move backwards, we're going to -1, okay? Or have we not been adding one? Okay, then we will add one. And then we play our list again. We also have this nice little delay here, so we could have it hold at the end, and then continue playing. Now, if we do not want it to return at the end, we continue down here, and we ask, okay, is it going to go in a circle? And if it's going to go in a circle, we get our very last spot that we had gotten through our regular setup. We then get our first spot. We save those as our locations. And we set our last index to be 1 before the first one, okay? This is just to make sure that this step doesn't screw us up, okay? And then we play this setup. We do our math to get our distance between them without doing this here, okay? And then everything returns to going as normal. So, if you need an explanation or further delving into this, please feel free to contact me on Discord. That is the voice chat and text chat application that we're using for public discussions, so please feel free to contact me on Discord. The link is always in the description below the video. Okay? If you've appreciated the look into how to do a node-based system like this, then please feel free to like or subscribe the video. There is also a donation link in the description below if anybody has been just enjoying the video series that much so far. So, thank you again for watching. In our next episode, I'm going to try to make this all work off of our switches. Or not try to, like once we got that node-based system, adding it to our switches is going to be a very short, easy video. We should also, at that point, make it so that our jump button and our action button are separate. So, we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching. This has been our hour and 20-minute giant mega tutorial of Doom about node-based platforms and moving stuff and dynamic location setting, and woo! We did it! We did it so hard. And it's awesome now. Oh. And you know what? If you, instead of wanting to have this be an awesome loop-de-loop or whatever, and you just want an elevator, well, guess what? Because Philip just asked for an elevator, we're going to make this into an elevator. Okay, we're going to spend the next few seconds making this into an elevator. So we now go do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Okay, just put our nodes kind of above each other. And then on our platform, we want to get rid of the excess nodes. Okay, and we're going to turn its speed down to like 2 meters per second. Look at that! We've got an elevator! It's that easy. Oh, and for an elevator, that's a cool thing. Whether we have it on circle, or whether we have it on return trip, if it's just going between the two nodes, it does the exact same thing. Huzzah. There you go, guys. That is the most complicated way ever to make an elevator. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.